Let me ask you something. If you're a father or if you grew up with one, what did your father provide? Think about it concretely. The food, the roof, the stool clothes, the things that showed up because he worked for them. For a lot of us, especially coming from communities where provision was survival, that list is real and it's long and it deserves to be honored. Now, that's a different question. When did your father make you feel like you were the most important thing in the room? Not the most provided for, the most seen, the person whose words he was actually waiting to hear, the child whose presence genuinely lit something up in him. For some of us, those two lists overlap completely. For others, I think for most of us, then we usually admit out loud. The second list is shorter than the first. And that gap right there is what this episode is about. Not to shame the men who provided and didn't know how to do the second thing. Most of them were never shown that. But to give fathers in this audience a clearer picture of what research says children actually need versus actually give to you and give you the tools to deliver it the right way. This is Sana IE. I'm XO. Let's talk about fatherhood, fellas. Let me give you the research first, because I think when you see how clear it is, you stop treating this as a feeling conversation and start treating it as a strategic one. Children with emotionally engaged fathers show measurably better outcomes in school performance, mental health, emotional regulation, and social development. Not marginally better, measurably better across all income levels, across family structures, across racial groups. The father's emotional engagement is one of the strongest independent predicators of child outcomes available in the research. In a 2025 study examining father involvement among 2,040 unmarried Black fathers found 4 distinct profiles of engagement. Children of the highly involved fathers, those who were emotionally present, consistently engaged, and cognitively stimulating, showed optimal social emotional functioning compared to children of fathers in every other profile. And critically, even fathers who were highly engaged physically but low on cognitive stimulation, reading, talking, asking questions, being curious about their children's inner world, produce worse outcomes than the fully involved group. Showing up is necessary. It is not sufficient. Here's one that reframes the provider narrative completely. The CDC's National Health Statistics Report analyzed data from over 10,000 fathers and found that Black fathers outpaced white and Hispanic fathers in daily caregiving, whether that comes to bathing, feeding, reading to them, playing with their children. Black fathers, despite the cultural narrative that says otherwise, are among the most involved fathers in America when they are in the home. And that data is not just interesting, it is important because it means the men in this audience are not starting from a deficit. They're starting from a foundation that the broader culture has systematically refused to acknowledge. The absent father narrative is in many ways a myth. And the men building on this show deserve to know that. What the research also shows is where the gap tends to live, not in physical presence or basic provision, but in the specific quality of emotional engagement, in attunement, in the responsiveness that tells a child, I see you, specifically you, and what you feel matters to me. So let me give you 3 things the research consistently identifies as what children most need from their fathers. And this is in theory, this is actual dimensions. Need number 1, emotional availability. I know y'all thinking fellas like, man, you already know how we give on emotions, but emotional availability is the number 1 need from children. This is not the same as being in the house. It is the experience a child has of being available and able to bring their emotional world to you, their fears, their excitement, their confusion, their pain, and having you actually receive it without minimizing it or trying to fix it or even trying to redirect it to something more comfortable. For children, emotional availability from a father communicates something foundational. My inner world is acceptable. My feelings aren't a burden. Someone I can look up to and handle what I feel without shutting it down. That message received consistently across childhood shapes how a child regulates emotions, how they handle stress, how they regulate to others and relate to others, what they believe they're worth. The research on this specific children whose fathers demonstrate high emotional availability show stronger emotional self-regulation, better conflict resolution skills in peer relationships, and measurably lower rates of anxiety and depression in adolescence. The return on emotional availability is enormous, and most fathers have no idea how much it matters because nobody made it visible to them. But today, I'm doing that. Need number 2, attunement. This is the experience of being accurately perceived, of a parent seeing not just what you're doing, but what you are feeling, of someone noticing the small things, the quietness that means something is wrong, the excitement that wants to be shared, the question that is really about something bigger. Attunement requires attention, focused, unhurried, curious attention. Not attention split between your phone and your child's face, the real kind of attention. It requires asking the second question, not just how was school, but listening to the answer and following it somewhere. You said it was fine, but you seemed like something happened. What was that thing? Getting deeper into the conversation with the child. And research on parental engagement and child social emotional competence, published in 2025, found that fathers who demonstrate what researchers call prenatal and postnatal readiness, psychological investment in the parental role, clear beliefs about high quality father child relationships, and active attunement behaviors, produce children with significantly stronger social emotional competence by age 3. The investment in emotional attunement with a child begins earlier and produces outcomes faster than most fathers realize. Need number 3, cognitive stimulation. This is the one that surprised me most when I went into the research, and the one 2025 Black Fatherhood study identified as the critical differentiator between good outcome and optimal outcomes. Cognitive stimulation isn't tutoring. It's the act of engaging your child's mind with curiosity, reading together, asking open-ended questions, exploring ideas, explaining how things work, talking about what matters and why, debating playfully about things that interest them, introducing them to your world, your work, your thinking, your values in language they can receive. Children whose fathers who actively stimulate their thinking show stronger language development, higher academic performance, and greater intellectual confidence than children who are physically present with fathers who do not engage their minds. You're not just a provider of comfort and safety, you're a source of intellectual development. That is a role worth understanding and taking seriously, fellas. Now, I know there's a lot to drop on y'all. I should have told y'all get out your notepads, man, but y'all can always rewind back and take those notes for the 3 needs that children need. Cognitive stimulation, emotional availability, and number 2 was attunement. But we're going to skip on and head on to something that I think needs to be discussed before we close this whole episode out. And I want to name something that I think a lot of fathers need to hear. And I want to say it with full acknowledgement that what I'm about to name comes from a real honorable place. Many of the fathers in this audience were raised to understand the role primarily as providers, right? That isn't an accident or a failure. It is the inheritance of generations of Black men who were fighting for survival and an economic system designed to exclude them. The provision was not just love, it was resistance. It was proof that they were here, they were capable, that they would not be broken. And that legacy is real and it deserves to be honored. And it can also become a trap. When providing becomes the entire definition of fatherhood, several things happen. The father pours his identity into the provision. And we talked about this in Q2 provider pressure episode. Go take a look back and listen to it. And he ties his worth as a father to his financial output. When the finances fluctuate, as they always do, we know how it goes. His sense of himself as a father fluctuates with it. And the children who are watching not just what he provides, but how he is with them, begin to experience provision as a substitute for the presence they are still waiting for. And the most devastating version of this is the man who worked himself to near exhaustion to give his children everything, every material thing, and who sits at the dinner table in silence because nobody taught him how to be present with them emotionally. And the children love him and they feel the distance, and nobody in the family knows how to name it, so it just becomes the atmosphere. Crazy, right? And research from the National Fatherhood Initiative's 2024 evaluation found that fatherhood programs addressing healthy relationships and emotional presence show greater long-term impact on child outcomes than programs focusing primarily on financial responsibility training. The research suggests that adult intimate relationships and emotional engagement have profound and direct relationship on child development, more direct than economic provision alone. The money matters. It can't be the whole thing, though. What your children need is not a perfect financial situation. They need a father who is present enough to know them, to be curious about them, to be the person they can bring the real thing to without it being redirected into a lesson or a lecture or a dismissal. That isn't a lesser version of fatherhood than providing, it's the fuller version. So now let's get to some practical moves because research is there, the notes is there, the statistics is there. Let's get down to the practical moves that we can do. Here's what present fatherhood looks like in practice. Not the ideal version, the real version that starts today with what you already have. If you got your pen and pad out still, perfect, because I'm about to list them out. Move number 1, the daily check-in. Every day, one focused conversation with your child that has nothing to do with behavior management, logistics, or lessons. Just how are you? What was the best thing that happened today? What was the hard thing? And then listen. Do not fix it. Do not redirect. Do not turn into a teachable moment. Just receive what they give to you. 5 minutes of genuine reception every day changes the relationship over time. Move number 2, follow their interests, not yours. Every child has something they're lit up about, right? We know either a game, a subject, a story, a hobby, an obsession that probably bores you. Go there anyway. Ask about it. Let them teach you. The message underneath this move is what matters to you matters to me. And the message is one of the most powerful things a father can deliver to a child who is still figuring out if their inner world is worth taking seriously. Move number 3, name their strengths specifically. Not just say, hey, good job. Be specific. I noticed the way you handled that situation with your friend today. That was mature. That took real courage. Or you're really good at staying calm when things get hard. I see that in you. Specific acknowledgement from a father lands differently than general praise. It tells a child you're being seen accurately, not just celebrated or just seen. Number 4, let them see you be human. Yes, you got to be human with your kids if you ain't already. This is one of the harder ones for men who were raised to be strong in front of their children. But children who see their fathers experience difficulty, acknowledge it honestly, and handle it with dignity, those children develop more resilient emotional frameworks than children who only see the invulnerable version of their father. You don't have to dump your adult life or your adult problems on your children. You can say, Dad had a hard day today. I am working through something, but I am okay and I am here. That kind of transparency builds trust in ways that perform strength can never do. Move number 5, protect the unscheduled time. This is one of the most modern fathers struggle with most. The scheduled activities, the games, the recitals, the appointments, those are easy to show up for. The unscheduled Tuesday afternoon when nothing is planned and your child just wants to be near you. That is where the relationship actually deepens. Protect some of that time. Not all of it, just some of that time. And when you're in it, be actually there, be present with your child. All right, let's close this thing out. The narrative about Black fathers in America has been wrong for a long time. The data say so. The men in this audience say so. With their presence, their care, their willingness to show up and keep showing up, even when the resources are tight, the systems are not designed to support them. What this episode is asking isn't whether you are here, because you are here. You showed up for this conversation, which means you're showing up for your children in some form already. What it's asking is whether you are going all in. All the way in. Not all the way financially, though that matters. All the way emotionally, relationally, attentionally. Whether your children know that they're not just provided for, but genuinely known by you. That you're curious about who they're becoming. That their inner world is safe with you. That is the thing that compounds. The provision gives a foundation. The presence gives them the confidence to build on it. So why not give them both? Next week, we digging a little deeper, man. Bring your shovels, bring your hard hats. We're going into the fatherhood arc. How to father differently when you were fathered and when you weren't fathered the way you needed to be. The breaking the cycle conversation. That one is going somewhere. That being said, appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Always here for y'all. Leave a comment, leave a review. Follow us, subscribe on YouTube. We out here on YouTube, man, at Sana IE on YouTube. Follow, subscribe, leave a comment. If you love the show, leave a review on there. If you hate the show, let me know what you didn't like about it. All comments are accepted. With that being said, this is Sana IE. I'm EXO. See you next week.